Good morning.
Good morning.
This is our meditation reflection. We started recording our little talks that we have after our meditations. A little over a week ago, but this is the first time we're video recording. The previous mornings it's only been audio.
Something a little different, but well worth experimenting with and trying.
Yeah.
The morning meditations have been a fairly regular thing for quite a bit of March, April, and now we're into May,
Yeah. So,
which has been very nice.
and part of it is because of the lockdown. We've been meaning to do this for a very long time, and finally doing it on a regular basis, and it's been extremely beneficial.
Agreed, immensely so.
Yeah. So I recommend meditation to everyone.
Yes, definitely. And any form that suits you or appeals to you, because there's a lot of different forms of meditation, but they're all involved with focusing the mind, so you have to come up with the technique that works best for you.
Exactly.
One of the nice things about my learning process through spiritual discovery has been workshops, and one of the workshops I took was with John Goldingham, and he taught channeling. And over a long process of learning after the initial experience, I seem to have auditory channeling, and so I get a lot of comments in the morning. And before we did the meditation this morning, I asked Sia, a rather strong guide for me, introduced to me by James Gillian, what she would most want to talk about. So she had some ideas, of course, as to what she wanted to talk about. But you also got something this morning. May I ask what the topic was?
It was very general. I'll actually have you go first if you don't mind.
Okay. I've quite often when we've made this kind of comparison, I've been astonished at the synchronicity.
Yes.
Okay. Should I identify Sia?
Oh, of course.
Sia is Orion Council of Light. She's a sixth density being, and I was introduced to her as both part of my history and part of my guidance system by a transpersonal reading with James Gillian. You can look up from ESETI Ranch. Sia, when I asked her this morning what was the most important thing she wanted me to record, she said it was essentially about discernment. Right now we're being hit with a lot of different information at a lot of different levels. And she says, the act of choosing right or wrong about all this information coming at you is not actually the goal of discernment. The goal of discernment is to hold all the information that you can receive as lightly as you can until your discernment allows you to detect the pattern. And discernment is an act of logic, but more importantly, an act of the heart. She says that it's not choosing the right or wrong, it's your ultimate choice of which path you wish to follow. So all the information is like a web. You're choosing the patterns within it, and it's the individual choice that you make as a separate human being in your heart that sets the pattern of the world. And she's literally referring to the fact the world you wish to manifest. This is not an either-or choice. It has multiple layers of understanding being reflected in the outcome of these choices. But you're not making a choice for another. You're not having to fight for the choice unless you see an opportunity to nudge it easily, she says. You are making a choice for the world as a choice for your heart, because they are a similar woven manifestation. So discernment, not for making right or wrong, but to see the pattern of discernment and the pattern of wisdom and the pattern of knowledge, and that being a choice of your heart. Because this is third density, and this is about learning to make choices with as much wisdom, compassion as you can.
Yeah, I'm just off that topic, off the top of my head, actually, is I could see that there are several levels of discernment. One is finding the truth and finding what is false. And we all have that ability, but we've been programmed to believe what we're told through media, through our peers, through people in authority, teachers, ministers, even politicians for some people. But in discernment, we need to distinguish at a different level whether we're getting the truth or not, because often we are not. And especially through mainstream media. So find the facts and find what resonates with you. Does this sound true? I mean, are they manipulating your emotional responses, or are they giving you the facts? Because think about that. If they're constantly trying to impose an emotional reaction from you, is it your true reaction, or is it something they're projecting on you?
It's ironic. That can be almost a kind of habit. Emotions feel good, but they may or may not be serving you. And they particularly don't serve you if they're not actually yours.
Mm.
That's a very interesting idea because it is discernment. Ironically enough, discernment is requiring memory of history. So the hiding of a lot of our planetary history has been a tool of manipulation, because you have to remember what has happened before, and does it, if it was a falsehood, is it making it likely that falsehoods are coming from the same sources?
Mm.
And like one of my favorite quotes, future proves past, is if the future proves that something was a falsehood, then that line or thread of thought might contain a lot of falsehoods.
Mm.
And that's the reason she's using the metaphor of a web. And right now, we have lots of people putting things out there, but it's at multiple layers, and some of it is for the purposes of deception and manipulation of people's souls, literally.
Jumping topics, we invite and have several of our guides present when we meditate for assistance and guidance and adding their energies to ours. When we have many beings focused on the same goal, it enhances everyone's capabilities and levels that they can attain. And hence we've been able to go very deep and connect with these beings to the point of even getting names and having conversations. Donna more so than I. But I do get the occasional dialogue going. And this morning's meditation, I had more of an interaction with what we had been calling Omega Man, because we didn't have his name clearly. I got it again this morning, Atre.
Atre, got it.
So we were calling him Omega Man because he is from the Omega group of the inner earth beings. We have two present. There's Amatri, which is one of Donna's guides, and Omega Man. I'm not sure how we're connected, but he is present here.
Mm-hmm. They're roughly tribal groups. Amatri, who's a guide for me, is a fourth density, Anshar, and her group wears the sign of Saturn for the sign of mysterious understandings, or the ultimate mystery of the universe and the attempt to understand it. So Saturn has a double connotation, but it's interesting that that's the symbol. And Omega Man wears a little Omega symbol, and his particular group happens to be closest to us here in New Zealand. So in terms of
In physical location. Yes.
physical location, his tribal group is here. Very strong push on discernment from him,
Yep.
and making sure that ideas are clearly understood. So I'd call him a being of kind of tough love
Yep.
in a lot of ways. I'm really glad you got a name for him. That's excellent.
Yeah. Anyway, his comment to me this morning was, "You have a gift," and we all do. And it only took me a second to figure out what that gift is. That gift is consciousness. And what we, excuse me, what we do with our consciousness is up to us individually. We choose the rate at which we want to develop. We choose the path. We choose what we want to know, what we want to discern. We choose what, when, where, and how. All these things, all these matters. And we can even choose our distractions. Actually, distractions are needed because they keep us balanced. But be careful of that, because you can get so caught up in your distractions that you miss the meaning of what's really going on in life and what's happening around you. It's always best to go for the bigger picture. So be aware that we all have this gift, and we have free will, which is incredibly important in how we use our own consciousness and how we connect to others.
That's so relevant, in particular for third density, which is the physical experience of the world that we're having now, is discernment and choice. And consciousness has to be the guide for that process of choice. And we're choosing between service to self or service to other self. And we're looking at the awareness of unity consciousness, that we are all one. I know that all the guides who come and speak with me are me, as they are all everything. But the form they choose to speak in is the one that they think I will have the best chance of understanding and perceiving with some accuracy. So it's a refinement process of the message. But it is all unity and all one, and Source presenting a multitude of paths that we are given to discern between. And the choice is still ours.
I can't think of anything else.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us this morning, and I hope you found it interesting, and we will hope to see you again. Thank you.
Thank you.